What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And this week on The Great Debaters, taking it to the Bay, San Francisco, in fact, R.B.L. Posse. Alright, Amir, so this week on The Great Debaters, we're getting into some R.B.L. Posse, their debut album. But before that, man, hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. We appreciate your guys' support. Please subscribe. If you've already subscribed, tell a friend so we can keep coming to you guys as often as possible and get to that #1 spot. So, Amir, R.B.L. Posse, debut album, A Lesson to Be Learned, 1992, San Francisco. This is a city that hasn't put out a gang of rappers like a lot of other cities, but they've got a lot of great ones. So for you, Amir, what were you learning about, understanding, getting into the San Francisco crew, R.B.L. Posse?
I think a few people were recommending me to listen to R.B.L. Posse. That's how I had heard them. Unlike, a lot of other times where I stumble across artists through YouTube or Amazon or whatever. This time, a lot of people were just recommending me to listen to them. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's check them out. And yeah, I had first listened to this album. Didn't cheat around and all that and go out of order. This was the one that I'd heard first. And A Lesson to Be Learned, the first track is Don't Give Me No Bammer. So that song, man, super, 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 super catchy. It's just another weed song, and I always love to hear how certain people have their take on certain themes. And weed is such a common theme in hip-hop music. We got the Snoop Doggs, we've got a lot of artists, like Project Pat has songs about weed. Pretty much any rapper, honestly, but their take on it was dope. The beat on it is awesome. Black Sea produced a lot on this album, and he killed it on Don't Give Me No Bammer. And then it's just a fun song, where they're saying some call it weed, some call it cess, but if you smoke no Bammer, don't smoke that mess, or if you have Bammer, don't smoke that mess. And I think that's funny. They're clever. And then also on top of that, it's still relevant. Hella Dope Records had produced this single with a weed leaf on it, and it's Bammer, no. You know what I mean? So that's dope. So they're still relevant off of it. It's just one of those timeless songs, and it's so catchy. The chorus is awesome, and the lyrics are on point, and they're funny. So this one was huge for me, to put me on R.B.L. And once I heard this, I was like, yeah, this is a dope album, just off rip. So that's my first track, Soren.
Yeah, Don't Give Me No Bammer is the first song I heard from R.B.L. and got me into the group. So I'm always grateful for that. But then also, putting into context, now weed songs are so popular and so prominent, but back in 92 when this song came out, not only was it independent, but Schoolie D had rapped about weed, Tone Loc had, and really Cypress Hill had up until this point, 91. We were just getting, I think this came before Redman with How to Roll a Blunt. But the point is, they were early to the game and making it a single, which was also crazy, and that it got buzz. Because I was still, in high school in Maryland when this song came out. So I don't remember, this is one of those songs I don't remember how I came across it, because I was hearing so much music and just trying to find it from all different places. Definitely wasn't one of my friends, so I don't know how, I don't remember the story of it. But when I heard it, I was like, man, this beat is crazy. And it's funny that they're already saying we want this type of weed, not that type of weed, and this and that, which I thought was hilarious, because weed just wasn't as dominant in the societal discourse and in rap at that point either. So it was funny, but it was also clever. The beat is incredible. Black Sea's beats on here throughout A Lesson to Be Learned are just incredible. And this one, the bounce of it, man, just has that great feel. And then, of course, with Snoop Dogg, with Algorithm, he kind of redid, at least it mentions the chorus on Algorithm. If you guys haven't checked that out already, you should, because Snoop pays homage to R.B.L. Posse on No Bammer Weed, his song. So it just shows that what R.B.L. Posse was doing independently 30 years later is still, making it happen. So that's my first pick. Amir, what's your second pick?
So on top of that one, which is banger, then I have the title track, A Lesson to Be Learned. So this song, man, when I heard this, I was not expecting this. Let me tell you, I was not expecting to hear someone to flip Rapper's Delight, to sample Rapper's Delight. And I just think it's funny because the way that they take it is so obviously different from the original.
Very, very, very.
So, like, it's just funny and it's explicit. And, man, Black Sea to flip that one is awesome. And then for him to rap, I think he's on the first two verses, he's rapping. And on the second verse where he's dissing the police and saying they're in his pockets like Dig Dug, and I'm like, oh, what does that even mean? They're digging through his pockets, but I'd never heard that before, so that was funny.
I think that's a video game reference. But...
Oh, it is? Okay, see, so thanks, Soren, for putting me on, but that was funny, and then just the lyrics are awesome. We got the scratching, which is super dope, and then on top of that, we hear Mr. C on the last verse of the song, and Mr. C's going in, and with that you hear a different sample, which is similar to the EPMD beat they use on the Strictly Business album, but that was hard. And then you hear like that squeaky voice like in the background of Mr. C's vocals that's repeating everything he's saying, so I thought that was interesting, but I thought it worked. And then I really like the end, like the last 40, 50 seconds, or whatever it is, for like, bitch, I thought you knew, bitch, I really... So I like that a lot, and I thought it was catchy. So I just think the whole song is just like, you hear one beat, you hear another beat, then you hear the bitch, I thought you knew, and then they're shouting out Frisco and Fillmore, and it's like, man, this song is just kind of wild, and just the whole Rapper's Delight thing threw me off in a great way because I was just so happy someone flipped it and made it so dope again. So, man, I mean, that song, it's always a good one to bump, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, Lesson to Be Learned is also one of my top 3 picks for all those same reasons, and building on a few of them. When I interviewed Black Sea for Unique Access, you guys can check out the interview there, but he was telling me about when he added Mr. C to the album. The reason why some of the beats changed and stuff is because he added them on to the album late, because he came into the crew later than everybody else, and he wanted to separate or highlight and stuff. So with the third verse on A Lesson to Be Learned, the beat changing, you know, listening to that in high school and stuff and not knowing anything, I just was like, man, that's super creative. I love it in general when the beats change, especially dramatically, using the You're a Customer from EPMD, based off of or contrasted with the basic instrumental for Rapper's Delight and Good Times by Chic. It was just crazy because, like Amir was saying, to go from a party, festive, having fun, to like super street, anti-police, living in the hood, and then trying to navigate all those different things and being super gangster with it, I was like, man, this is crazy that they flipped this song and did it so brilliantly in a way that it didn't, you know, make it sound like soft or commercial, whereas, you know, sometimes when you use these super familiar beats, you know, it can kind of sound weird or forced, but, you know, to their credit, Black Sea in particular, his production and then the way he was flowing on the first 2 verses is just so good because it just brings home that forcefulness, and it shows, as Amir and I have talked about and as I've talked about in my interviews, you know, the NWA and Fuck the Police wasn't the only song in this era that was addressing the police, and you know, whether that was a super independent group like R.B.L. Posse, or we get, you know, a big song like Sound of the Police by KRS-One, or Compton's Most Wanted, One Time Gapping 'Em Up. I mean, it's just all these songs that were talking about police brutality, 1992 and earlier, and of course Ice-T has addressed this and many other people, and I just, every time I hear it, it's like, man, these same problems are happening in San Francisco, that were happening in Compton, that were happening in LA, that were happening in Philly with Schoolie D, you know, that were happening in New York. And growing up right in between Baltimore and Washington, I knew they were happening in Baltimore and Washington too. So even though I wasn't in San Francisco or wasn't in Compton, I was able to see, understand, and appreciate it because I knew this stuff was happening where I was growing up too. And that's one of the things that rap did, that showed me, like DJ QUIK had said, we did Way Too Funky, and it just shows a lot of these cities are just like Compton, and there's so many similarities to what's happening around the country and then sadly around the world. And man, lesson be learned is such a great song. And also just to be totally independent and to put this out, and Black C doing this more or less on his own early in the game, just very, very, very impressive, and shout out to him. So that's my second pick. Amir, what's your third pick?
So third track, it's gonna be Bitches on the Ding Dong. Yeah, man, I mean, the title is hilarious, but man, honestly, it's a dope album through and through. I also wanted to pick like I Ain't No Joke, maybe sort of like a Psycho. I mean, there's some quite good ones on here. Bitches on the Ding Dong to me is just like another like funny track. Another one that's talking about, obviously just listen to the title, but to me it's always funny like in rap where you hear artists talk about certain things. Like we had just heard, or we had just discussed Don't Give Me No Bammer, right? And they're talking, as Soren said, the whack weed is like the Bammer weed. So it's funny to me how they're talking about like bad weed. They use the term Bammer, which to me that was the first time that I had heard Bammer. But then here you're hearing them talk about their penis as their ding dong. So I don't remember the first instance of hearing ding dong. I wouldn't doubt if Eazy-E had said it in a song because he was always creative with the genitalia. But ding dong is what they use for this song. I think the chorus is funny. I think the beat is catchy, and I think they're going and flowing on it. It's just one of those like lighthearted tracks that I just listen to, and I think is like funny for the chorus and dope for the actual verses. And I like the beat by Black C. And Black C, like Soren had said earlier in this, which I actually hadn't seen that interview yet from Unique Access, so that's good. I'm gonna have to peep that one out. But I didn't know that he produced it first, and then he had to add more and more and more later. So that's interesting. But with that being said, Black C's production on this is awesome. I'm really hoping that we get like another like remastered, revamped version, because that would be awesome to hear some of these boosted up even more. That's my last pick.
Yeah, Lesson to Be Learned is a phenomenal album. That's not my third pick, but mine is I Ain't No Joke. And, you know, as is often the case, I like one of the first couple songs the most, just because I think they know what songs hit really hard and do a good job. I like the fact that they had the same kind of horn sample that Beastie Boys use on Brass Monkey. I like the Rakim. I like the scratching. I like the feel of it. And this one, you know, it's mostly bragging and stuff, but, you know, when you contrast that with Don't Give Me No Bammer and A Lesson to Be Learned and I Ain't No Joke, it's like three different styles, three different feels to the songs, sonically, lyrically, and really attitudinally. I just thought it was really a great way to kick off the album, and it didn't necessarily fit into a lot of the street stuff that gets discussed, which I also thought was cool, just to show Black C, in particular, his versatility, both as a producer and then as a lyricist. So I just really like I Ain't No Joke, and anytime people can use that from Rakim, I love the original, of course, from Rakim, one of my favorite songs of all time. And so, you know, just hearing R.B.L. Posse pay homage to it and then do a great job with it, and then add in a little sprinkle of the Beastie Boys, man, I just thought it was a nice combination and very unexpected. And anytime you can have scratching on top of that, is a beautiful thing. So those are my three picks. You guys got Amir's three picks from A Lesson to Be Learned, R.B.L. Posse 1992 debut album. As always, hit us in this comment section. Let us know what you like. And also, like, subscribe, share, talk about Unique Access. If you've already subscribed, please get a friend to subscribe, because we're trying to get to this #1 spot in the game. So I'm Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
The Great Debaters, y'all. Thank you, R.B.L. Posse.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It would be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
What's that 5 on your TV back with NWA?
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.